All right, so before we start, we're going to look at the play project because you do have spring break coming up. And we have a few pieces. This piece on marketing and public relations is due after you get back from break. This piece on script direction is due this evening. Script directions, we talked about this. You open a Word document, you put your text in, you put the brackets to add, personal edition. Did you put parentheses to the bracket? If it's all caps, all right. So I'll probably have to forgive that. This piece, as I told you the other day, is the most complex piece. So everything else has been 10. Flyer and a separate Word document as a play note. Quick blurb. Come to see Evita. Let's do Evita. Let's say, release for the newspaper. Those are two different pieces. Announced. Interested in, want to know about, kind of language that's popular. This paper is a little. One is more formal, has a little bit. Then you're making a poster. So now we're at 3. The play will take place. Now tell me where and when. Who are the principal actors? And things like, where to buy my tickets? Oh. Or is it free? How much does it cost? Can I buy my tickets online? Do you buy tickets at the shed? You have to buy them with plastic. Lori's running that, and she can go in there and get the cash and give it. And tomorrow it's Michael, and so we just don't have access to maintaining a safe cash box. But anybody who works there can run the card for you, and there's a record and a printout. Source photo, you have to credit it. Now, if you go on the ASUMH website, you got to credit it. So now we're at 1, 2, 3 pieces, and we're going to 4. And 4 is your you only need 4 pieces, but it needs to download as a template, and then you just fill your stuff in. Use Google Docs. Well, it probably is a template inside Google Docs because it should, if it's got the 4 pieces and you tell it the size, tell it 5 by 7 minimum, and you should be able to do it in a brochure. But there's also fit play build template, and that often comes up. And then you're going to fill it in with your material. All right, so on it, you're going to have some graphics. So if my play were porcelain and pink, so something, an image, the text explanation. So you're going to have the playbill. So this is different. So all, over here, you're saying on the playbill. So you're having an explanation of the playbill. The playbill has to have actors, venue, thank you. So on the back of your playbill, usually will say, thank our so-and-so. Interior things, I've got to have my, what the play is, who my actors are, what the roles are, where my production is, and usually a plot line summary. So, in. That's fine. If you want to do the bio piece for the actors and the image inside. Back. So that makes 1, 2, 3. It is has the largest piece to this. Okay. Your favorite. All right, so we're going to look at the musical. Oh, I have this on PowerPoint. Because this is the biggest theater for the United States. And it continues to be the biggest for the United States. We have a musical, and this is a side reaction to realism. We're not prepared. Screen that's still going. TV and movies that are realistic, that are five. That's really far away. We have fantasy. In fantasy, we can go into musicals, make fun. Frozen. Okay, so Disney. Now, what's happened? Lion King was first a cartoon and then converted. Traditionally, our progression has been something in print, became a play, became a and be first something else and then come back as a musical. Anything. Okay. So here's America's only contribution to the world of theater is the book musical. Book. Music. Yeah. Why? They're fun and upbeat, and we like that because it's another reaction to realism. So entertaining. Last year we showed Alice in Wonderland. It sales were extremely mediocre. We can say a musical is more popular than even Alice in Wonderland. Wind in the Willows. Associating a musical, the whole concept of Branson, musicals. When people go to those shows, very few are just stand-up comedy. Nothing is a realistic play. It's a musical. Even the Sight and Sound Theater, anyone know that? Is bringing back Samson for its last tour, and that's a musical. So was Moses, and so was Joseph. Normal running time of the American musical as long as Shakespeare. On a Shakespeare play today, go, get up and go. New York. And took my then 15-year-old son, and we went to the School of Rock, which is a musical. And we went to Waitress, which is a musical. I've been to Hair on Broadway, which was a musical. I've been to Lion King as a musical. I've been to Waitress. There are more musicals to choose from than there are series plays. I have gone to a few series plays, but the very first professional production I've gone to Shakespeare, of course. Very first professional production I went to was Hello, Dolly, which was a musical. Okay. Comedy. Boy Meets Girl. That's tried and true. We watch that. Grease. Lion King. I mean, tried and true. We watch that. Do they get back together? We expect it. If they read the play Wicked is coming to New York this summer. It's coming to Little Rock this summer. The end of the play Wicked, the boy and girl get back together. The end of the book Wicked, the boy's dead. It can work in a book, but we still like things to work out. Be nice in a movie called Summersby. Has anyone seen this? Summersby is a Civil War setting. A man the audience knows that the man being tried for war crimes assumed a persona from someone he had met in Civil War prison. And he has now gone back home and been with his wife, and they have a lovely child. If he admits he is not truly Summersby, if he doesn't admit he's truly Summersby, he's going to be executed for Summersby's war crimes. That movie ends with him executed for Summersby's war crimes. The audience had it. They wanted some miraculous resolution. They ended realistically. The audience. Okay, so when we do this, instead of being a climax and a falling action, we have something happens, and this is an episode, just like we have. So musicals are so it's safer if I take me, so I can transfer that into a book musical. It's safer if I take that play that I know made money and I transfer it into a musical. If I start out with a musical without a base, I'm risking a lot of money. You want to make a lot of money? So let's not do that. Did you know that Oklahoma was a book? Oklahoma is still in production somewhere. Hello, Dolly, and Maine. Those all were plays. South Pacific. And I like a good man, Charlie Brown and Annie came from comics. They're going to come. They identify with the characters. They're coming. This is really a recreation way back in the classicals when we had Oedipus. Everybody who read that play knew that. They went in because they identified. They know who the good guys are before they walk through the door. They know. And The Sound of Music and Unsinkable Molly Brown are actually okay. So uh-huh. Okay. The section go to their farm in Vermont, where the family still runs a kind of a hostel, and they have the singing. Actors. So book. Clean it up. Song. Book. But the American musical is known for the book. The story is important. Before the American musical, before set up to advance. And the music, how did we come to be where we are? Extravaganza. So we already know what happened to Italy. They went to opera. So they didn't stay with traditional music. Instead, they opera. We're just advancing plot, developing characters, and we did like these for a little bit. World War One, we had a 15-minute. The one most known is Babes in Toyland. This was made into a movie, which is not a great movie. Do we even have sound now? Muted there. So what are we listening to? We're listening to the score. Right? But this actors marching across the stage. It was about the production, marching across the stage. All right, to set up to the next little scene between our major characters, which is a wedding scene. And so it's just this. Turn that off. If you say, "Oh, let's watch this great movie," no, it's not. But 1961, it was still popular enough to be made into a movie. Look at that. People liked it back then, and it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, and if you look at this, Mary Contrary and Tom Piper prepare for their wedding, but villainous Barnaby wants Mary. He kidnaps Tom. So there's searches, chases, double cross. Very much melodrama set to music. Now, the operetta had an issue, the stock market, and the making the movie once. So the strength of the operator's plot is there's not one. These two guys, Gilbert and Sullivan, gave us English comic opera. English comic opera had a great deal of influence. So Sullivan wrote the music and Gilbert wrote the book. So lyrics. No, Gilbert wrote the lyrics. Wordsmith gets top billing. It's not alphabetical. So whenever you see two together, four. Gilbert and Sullivan are still put on. These are pop, even enter pop culture. I don't want that. I don't want that either. So what do we have? Gilbert and Sullivan very popular for, this is the end of the Ibsen's last play. So Ibsen was writing, and those are being, realism was going on in Europe. This was England. England didn't care about realism at that time. So they liked the comic opera, but they were in a status quo that they loved. This was the so. How do they come into pop culture? So Gilbert and Sullivan still, schools all over are going to put these on. Let's go find, here's one. So they're light. That music is light. That music is fun. It's not dark. There's nothing dark in Gilbert and Sullivan. It's just about enjoyment. So we have some dark. Okay. So the Black Crook is the extravaganza, and it's all about next play, next play, next play. And we have a trip to Fairyland. Sci-fi fantasy. And guess what follows that? Wizard of Oz. Here we are in this world, and now the Wizard of Oz. So we can start this. And in 1903, Wizard of Oz came to Broadway. 293 performances. The book Wizard of Oz existed before the play. Black Crook is 1866. That's still during the Civil War. I mean, that's immediately after the Civil War. So then there's this huge change. Cohen. And he played with his family, the four Cohens, his sister and his mom and dad. But look at this. At age 17, he became the manager. Can you manage something that's showing on Broadway? Can you put it together? Can you write the act? Forward. So he would come out. This was a statement. Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you. Now, 1904 to 1914, he had 5, and he was the major actor. So he's from that group of playwright, actor, write for myself, write a good role. Roles for himself, Moliere did, so did Cohen. Please notice, he wrote book, wrote the lyrics, wrote the book, he wrote the lyrics. But here's a problem. Because none were saved. The only thing we have is there was a disc songs from some of the productions are saved on that. And then those songs have become part of. We don't have the script, we can't put it on. This is FDR. See, yeah, that's FDR. Yeah. Because President Roosevelt, what? Yes. Yes, but it wasn't his. Okay. I don't want that one for kids. Those are, yes. Yep. I don't want an ad. So that's both of those were patriotic songs. They influenced the attitude of people into supporting action in the war. People would sign up to be going in. That movie, Yankee Doodle Dandy, was made. Now, politics influences. Which was a satire. We make fun of things. We still like satire. We usually don't associate a musical with satire. South Pacific, do you know that one? All right, South Pacific won the Pulitzer in 1949. It was upbeat even for World War II. And a love story of boy meets girl, but it also had sadness. That's not the movie. So Nellie Flatbush is she's a nurse. It's World War II. She's in the South Pacific. And the song. Okay, so this particular song, married to an islander, and he has children. He is a widower. Now, that meant he was raising mixed race children from Little Rock, Arkansas in the 1940s and had a race as in Caucasian Pacific Islander. to get him out of her life completely because he has committed to her a mortal sin. So this movie was not good for Arkansas in showing the prejudice that was 10 years later. The Little Rock Nine didn't do much more for Arkansas in the public eye. But we have had some fun ones. We had Chorus Line and Rent also get the Pulitzer. So Rogers and Hammerstein. This people were used to the extravaganza. We saw Dave and on the stage somewhere moving, singing. It starts with an old woman sitting in a rocking chair on the front porch. Very calm. So whenever you change what the audience expects, you're taking a risk. Audience expectations rule. Do we go to things because we expect something from the audience? When you're taught in a composition course, what are you supposed to consider? Who is your audience? When you write an essay, when you write a letter, and you construct, and our crescendo will come as the movie builds instead of starting crescendo. Cornfields, not extravaganza. So what's the difference in having this opening, which is what they did in the movie, and having the grandmother is a minor character. So we not only don't start out with our major we start out with a minor character who's singing, just sitting there singing. This, people go to the movie to see the major actor. So they're following more convention in the movie than they followed in the play. At risk in the movie. This also allowed them to do the expanse because now this is a dream ballet. We didn't have it. Death on stage? Because what do we associate death with? Those are the comedy. What? So here we have Dream Ballet. 5 years, 4 months, 2,212 performances. 5 years and 4 months from opening. Still open. You will not be able to put Oklahoma on in a high school without paying full copyright production rights from French's Theater because this play still makes box office. You put it on, they will come. It's the go-to. When it came on, the audience gave the cast a standing ovation, and this is the show opened on March 21st, 1943, but the whole cast only performed on Broadway once. Then they had to bring in different people every time because of accidents and the draft. They were losing actors because of the war. So you never knew which production company you had on because every day it changed. Yes, because of matinees. There's matinees on Sunday and Wednesday. Yeah. And some places have matinees on Sunday, Saturday also, but always on Sunday and Wednesday. So then we have The Sound of Music, which is a Rodgers and Hammerstein. Ballet dance. Marching systems, but not truly dance. But the first one that really had it all together, dance was as important as the music, as important as the plot, whole advancing, was West Side Story, which is a Sondheim play. So West Side Story is based on between two gangs. It's between a Caucasian gang and a Hispanic gang. So as in Romeo and Juliet, The conflict was between the Montagues and the Capulets. And you couldn't have a boy from one group marry a girl from the other. This is that same story. And have a boy from one group marry a girl from the other group. So we're still back in the boy meet girl, boy and girl together, boy and girl have adversity, boy and girl come back. So Sondheim wrote for West Side Story, but then Sondheim became huge and wrote for himself. We saw long ago a little bit about a funny thing happened on the way to the forum. There's lots of plays on Broadway. There's even Side by Side by Sondheim, which is a mixing of his plays. Yes, it does. It does have a death. Probably in Oklahoma, we now do have some death on stage. This American invasion, and the invader was Andrew Lloyd Webber. London. Cats. So Bill on. And most so we have a list of Weber plays. The Woman in White is based on a book that's a mystery. Bombay Dreams is based on another book that's set in India by Jeeves. Jesus Christ Superstar, Sunset Boulevard. Joseph has been put on in Branson quite often. And this is what I'm trying to get down to. This lovely play, Evita, that we will be performed here tonight, is a Andrew Lloyd Webber. From 79 to 83. Last year in March, he had 5 plays that were on Broadway, 4 in revival and 1 new. So he still makes box office. Yes. Evita is based on the life of Evita Peron. So lyrics are by Tim Rice, music Andrew Lloyd Webber. So Evita Peron was the wife of the president, and the government was very corrupt. So he took a main character, who made box office and played for 5 years. This is one play, but he also did Cats, which is quite a different play. He based Cats. Look what you get when you say cat. Poor cat. Okay. Um, all right, so just look at this stage. Very ornate, very pretty. Um, the lighting gives you this element of water and marking. This is futuristic. The play. They are totally different, but they are both, which is completely different from these two. That has in common, it's a musical. So, and Weber production with preconceived notions. What you expect based on Evita, and then you walk into Cats, it's going to be, where am I? This is, but these are actually physical. This is background. Um, so he is the Lord Broadway in England. So that a play by Andrew Lloyd Webber is on somewhere. So Phantom was up for Again, staging elements now. This is not the same kind of production of Evita. Quite different. And it is a story. Again, the story was known, and then he took that story and made it into music. How can we put the musical together? So Phantom of the Opera was revived in 2013 and up for a Tony. His plays are constantly being revived and up for a Tony. And then last year, Jesus Christ Superstar was the movie, with the play that was put on as a live production on television. I think CBS Springs Theater. Still in production. Yeah. All right. I want you to have a wonderful spring break, and we will